Wave 1 of the engineering tech preview lasted exactly 4 hours before CIG pulled it down again. In those 4 hours, capital ships were catching fire, players were accidentally venting their own crew into space, and someone on Reddit admitted they'd locked themselves out of their own bridge because they didn't understand the new power systems. The Polaris, that beautiful $750 capital ship everyone's been waiting for, turned into a floating death trap the moment people started clicking buttons they didn't understand. You've probably been flying ships the same way since you started playing. Power triangle adjustments, shield face management, maybe some pip bleeding for fixed weapons, standard stuff. Load into Arena Commander offline because the PTU's down, and suddenly there's this extra MFD page labeled diagnostics with bars and numbers and percentages that mean something. Click around for maybe 8 minutes, and suddenly the ship's falling, doors won't open, and there's this persistent beeping that won't stop. The helmet comes off to check if the atmosphere's still working, and yeah, it is, but the temperature gauge is climbing into red territory and nobody told you what that actually means for your continued existence. Every engineering-enabled ship now has component-level control buried in menus most players won't find for weeks. Coolers, power plants, individual thrusters, life support, shield generators, weapons, doors, even the specific fuses that connect everything together. The old system was like having a light switch. Flip it, lights come on. This new system hands you the circuit breaker panel, the wiring diagram, and a fire extinguisher, then walks away without instructions. The usual complaint about multi-crew ships has been, why would I need other people when I can do everything from the pilot seat? That question just answered itself. Solo players are about to discover that flying a Polaris alone isn't a power fantasy. It's a survival horror game, where the monster is your own ship's cooling system. Large ships were never meant to be one-person operations, and the engineering system finally enforces that reality through actual mechanical consequences rather than arbitrary restrictions. The diagnostic MFD page sits there on every engineering ship, accessible from the pilot seat, looking deceptively simple. Scroll down, and you'll be scrolling for a while on something like the Polaris, and you'll see every single component listed with 2 numbers. One's pixelated, showing wear and tear. The other's a green bar indicating health percentage. Both matter, though the relationship between them isn't exactly clear yet, because this is early testing and CIG is still figuring it out themselves. Click on the thrusters section. Not thrusters, as in the engines, but individual thrusters. Main thrusters, maneuvering thrusters, retro thrusters, all separated out. Turn off 4 of the 6 main engines on a Polaris and watch what happens. The ship doesn't just lose speed, it starts drifting sideways because the thrust is unbalanced. Physics actually matters now. Turn off the maneuvering thrusters entirely while keeping main engines at full power and the ship just drops. Can't maneuver, can't correct, just falling with engines screaming. Combat damage suddenly becomes tactical instead of just a health bar depleting. Ship spinning out of control after taking fire to the port side? Pull up diagnostics, identify which maneuvering thrusters are still functional, disable specific ones on the opposite side to create balance. It's not automatic. It's not convenient. It's the kind of problem solving that separates players who understand their ships from players who just know which button makes it go. Think about the last time your ship felt wrong after a fight. Pulling left for no apparent reason, acceleration feeling sluggish, something just off but no obvious damage indicators explaining why. That's been the black box of Star Citizen's damage model forever. You know something's broken, but good luck figuring out what. This system cracks that box open and shows you exactly which components are failing, which systems are offline, and what's about to explode if you don't deal with it in the next 30 seconds. The UI needs work. Text overlaps on the Polaris diagnostic screen in ways that make you squint and guess. But the underlying system, coolers used to be that component you'd upgrade for better performance, maybe if you were min-maxing. Now they're the difference between flying home and becoming a debris field with your corpse inside. Turn off all coolers on a Polaris just to see what happens, just out of curiosity. And within seconds, the warnings start. System overheating, then the shield generator, then the radar, which apparently generates enough heat from active scanning to cook itself, then the power plant. Smoke starts pouring through the corridors. Actual smoke with particle effects and everything billowing out of the power plant room. The lights die. Emergency lighting kicks in, bathing everything in red. Doors stop responding to normal commands, and there's this new option. Emergency override. Use it once, the door opens or closes. That's it. One time. After that, the door's dead until power gets restored somehow. Every component generates thermal load. Shields, weapons, quantum drive, life support, even the radar array. All of it produces heat that has to go somewhere. And somewhere means your cooling system max, outpower to weapons and shields like everyone's been doing since 2.0. And watch the temperature gauges climb into red territory within minutes. There's no warning, no grace period, just physics and consequences. Combat doctrine just changed. Can't alpha strike anymore, not without thermal management. Can't run shields at maximum with weapons hot, and quantum drive spooled without cooking your own systems. Choices matter now. Trade-offs are real. The skill ceiling just shot up so high most players can't even see it yet. Picture this: solo in a Polaris, Arena Commander offline mode, just poking around the new systems. Seems reasonable to test the cooler settings, right? Just adjusting power distribution. Seeing what happens: system overheating, smoke detected from power plants. The whole ship starts falling. Not drifting, falling. Like gravity suddenly remembered it exists in space. Sprint through the corridors toward engineering. Emergency lighting makes everything look like a horror movie set. Get to the power plant room and there's actual fire. Not a texture, not a simple particle effect. Fire with smoke, with heat distortion. There's a fire extinguisher on the wall. Grab it. It equips like a weapon. Stand there spraying this industrial power plant like it's a kitchen grease fire. The fire keeps burning. The extinguisher empties. The ship's still falling. Check the engineering terminal in a panic. Scrolling through menus and the realization hits. Fire needs oxygen. Should have vented the room. But by then, the ground's coming up fast in Arena Commander's test environment. 15 minutes of testing ends with a capital ship crater and the respawn screen. Embarrassing? Absolutely. But that moment of standing there with an empty fire extinguisher, watching flames that won't go out, understanding too late what should have been done, that's the kind of emergent gameplay Star Citizen's been promising for years. Engineering terminals are scattered throughout ships in dedicated locations. On the Polaris, they're near the component rooms. Zeus has one in the main corridor. Starlancer puts it in a proper engineering section. These aren't decorative props, they're command centers that give control over every system simultaneously. The event log alone changes everything. Every component failure, every warning, every fix, all timestamped and color-coded. Red for critical failures, yellow for warnings, green for resolved issues. Scroll back through the log and see exactly when things started going wrong, in what order, and how quickly the cascade happened. It's a black box recorder for your ship's death. The 3D view displays your ship as a holographic model. Click any component to toggle it on or off. Click any room to vent atmosphere or restore life support. Click any door to open, close, or lock it remotely. Filters let you show only damaged components. Only doors, only rooms, only the fuses connecting everything together. Those fuses, by the way, turn off the wrong one and entire ship sections go dark. Turn off the right one and you might save power for critical systems during an emergency. The preset system is where depth meets practicality. Create power management profiles for different situations. Combat mode, maximum power to weapons and shields, minimal life support, coolers at full capacity. Stealth mode, everything running cold, minimal signatures, weapons offline. Travel mode, optimized for quantum fuel efficiency, non-essential systems powered down. Save each profile as a preset. Switch between them with one click. No fumbling through menus during a fight. No forgetting which systems you disabled. Just tactical choices executed instantly. Smaller ships like the Zeus are simpler but still complex. 4 shield generators, but only 2 run simultaneously. The other 2 are redundant backups. Destroy one active generator and a backup automatically comes online. It's not just hit points anymore. It's actual system redundancy with functional consequences. Spectrum's currently on fire with arguments about whether this system is too complex. One side says CIG's alienating casual players who just want to fly spaceships and shoot things. Other side says this is exactly the fidelity Star Citizen promised from the beginning. Reddit threads have actual engineers breaking down thermodynamics and heat dissipation rates. Someone calculated the optimal cooler to power plant ratio for the Polaris and posted a spreadsheet. There's already an inside joke forming. Did you turn your coolers back on? Everyone's making that mistake. Everyone's watching their ships overheat because they forgot to re-enable cooling after testing something. It's the new "did you request docking permission?" The divide is real. Some players want accessible gameplay, others want simulation depth. Star Citizen's always been caught between those audiences, and this update draws a line in the sand. Accessible is over there in other games. This is the deep end. When this hits live servers, and it will eventually, after more waves of testing, the first thing to do is spend time in Arena Commander offline mode. Not in the universe where other players are shooting at you. Offline. Safe. Consequence-free. Load your main ship. Open the diagnostic MFD. Scroll through every single component. Don't change anything yet. Just look. Understand the layout. Find where your coolers are listed. Find your power plants. Find your thrusters. Memorize the structure because in an emergency, fumbling through menus gets you killed. Find your ship's engineering terminal. Every ship has different locations. Walk to it. Touch to start. Explore every tab. Items, settings, presets, rooms, doors. Click things. Break things. Learn what each button does when there's no pressure and no consequences. Practice the emergency sequence. Overheat warning appears. Open diagnostics. Check coolers first. Always coolers first. If they're offline, turn them on immediately. If they're online but overwhelmed, start shutting down non-essential systems. Tractor beams go first. Extra shield generators. Unused turrets. Weapons if necessary. Create a mental hierarchy. Life support and coolers are tier 1. Never touch these unless you're already dead. Propulsion and power are tier 2. You need these to escape. Weapons and shields are Tier 3, useless if you can't breathe or move. Test the limits. Turn off all coolers and watch how fast things overheat. Turn off individual thrusters and learn how the ship handles with asymmetric thrust vent rooms, and see how quickly atmosphere depletes. Lock doors and figure out the emergency override system. Make every possible mistake in a safe environment so muscle memory takes over during actual emergencies. Create presets for common situations. Combat preset. Coolers maximum, weapons hot, shields full, life support minimum. Stealth preset. Everything cold, minimal power draw, weapons offline. Damage control preset, non-essentials offline, maximum power to remaining functional systems. Save them, test them, refine them. The advantage isn't just knowledge, it's speed. While other players are panicking about random failures and clicking through menus they've never seen before, the response is automatic. Diagnostic page, identify the problem, execute the solution, back to flying. That's the difference between limping home with a crippled ship and becoming another rescue beacon. Quick thing, if you're the kind of person who just read create power management presets for different tactical situations and thought, yeah, that sounds fun, instead of this is too complicated, you might want to subscribe. Because the next video covers repair gameplay, and it turns out fixing damaged components involves actual physical interaction with ship systems, not just clicking a repair button. Also, there's apparently a way to set ships on fire deliberately, which seems like important information for both offensive and defensive purposes. Drop a comment about your first engineering disaster when you get PTU access. Everyone's going to have one. The person who vents their entire crew by accident, the pilot who locks themselves out of their own bridge, the engineer who sets the power plant on fire and can't figure out how to extinguish it. These stories are going to be legendary, and collecting them now means having a record of the exact moment Star Citizen's learning curve became a learning cliff. Next video breaks down the repair system and how to actually fix damaged components. Because yes, you can repair things now, and it's significantly more involved than standing near something with a multi-tool. There's also the promised content about deliberately setting ships on fire, which sounds chaotic, but apparently has legitimate tactical applications. The engineering system is live in testing. It's rough, it's incomplete, it's going to change. But the foundation is there, and that foundation transforms every ship from a simple vehicle into a complex system that can fail in spectacular, emergent, unscripted ways. That's either terrifying or exciting, depending on whether you're the kind of person who reads instruction manuals or just clicks buttons until something explodes. Every system matters now. Every system can fail. The only question is whether you'll understand them before they kill you.